Hi everyone, welcome to this week's video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to identify and manage negative patterns in your relationships. Now, if you're like me and if you're like every human being, relationships is big in our life. How our relationships go is determines how happy we feel, how fulfilled we feel, how joyful we feel. And so today I want to really go over three patterns, three mind patterns that create negative energy, negative experiences in our relationships. So here are those three mind patterns: avoid, defend, and suppress. Avoid, defend, suppress. These three energies are mind energies that are part of every relationship we find ourselves in. And when we can identify these patterns that are showing up in our relationships and we can disengage them, we actually shift how we experience ourselves in our relationship. We stop feeling like the person we're with or how we are in this relationship isn't fulfilling, and we start to find ourselves being at the source of knowing that how our relationships go is a function of our mind's patterns. Imagine if it could be that simple and effortless. And the answer to that is yes, it is. So let me talk to you about three of these mind patterns. Avoid. Avoid is a way that we operate in relationships that is automatic and natural from our mind. Avoid is when we begin to, have ways that we operate where we don't express things. We avoid saying certain things. We avoid doing certain things. It's the way the mind starts to feel like it needs to protect us from maybe what's not okay in how to be in our relationships. And this gets to the core of a sense of feeling not fulfilled or not happy. But believe it or not, it's not the other person. It's actually these mind patterns. In all my videos about relationships, there's one thing I'm going to say over and over and over again. It's not the other person. It actually starts with how these patterns have us operate in our relationships. So avoid is that we are in our relationships and we're not present to all of the ways that we are operating to avoid being ourselves. So one of the things you want to do is you want to get into seeing how are you being in your relationship where you're avoiding being yourself. I'll just give you an example so you have an idea. Only yesterday, I was watching a movie that was, for me, not like what my husband likes to look at. He is very action-oriented movies, and I was looking at one of those like Cinderella kind of movies, and he came up and I was like, hey, you're not gonna like this movie. Let me just like switch it off. I could look at it at another time and you could find one that you like. And he's like, no, let's just look at the one you're looking at. It took him like 6 times to tell me to play the movie, because see, what I realized that I've been avoiding a whole part of me in my relationship, because my mind is telling me about how he is and therefore how I need to be, that was avoiding fully being myself. Now, that is a function of me, not him. And that's part of these patterns that we aren't aware of, that impact our relationships negatively. Avoid. Start to think about, what am I avoiding in my relationship? You could say, I was avoiding saying to him, hey, I love these movies so much. This is what I like to look at. Why don't you and I look at more of these together? You could say, I'm avoiding saying that. Now, I don't realize that I'm avoiding saying that, because for me, it's just like, okay, it's fine. But it is these three patterns that I'm going to talk to you about. It's these subtle things that start to make us feel like we're not really happy. Maybe this isn't the person we want to spend our life with, or it's okay, but am I really happy? And then the mind goes into that world. That's a whole other story, but let's go back to these three patterns. So that's avoid. The other is deny. And deny is huge, because what we do in a relationship with this mind pattern is we start to deny ourselves. We start to deny how we want to be. We start to deny ourselves because we start to feel like, okay, this isn't the way how he is or she is, so let me be this way because this is the way that's going to make us happy. So you start to deny what makes you fulfilled, and eventually over time you start to feel like you are feeling like negative in your relationship. You don't feel as happy or as fulfilled, but you didn't realize that your mind patterns created that in your relationship. So yes, getting interested in, how am I denying? How is my mind denying me being myself in this relationship? And these patterns is one to check in on all the time. Like I do that all the time. I check in on them. Where am I denying? What am I avoiding? It's something to ask yourself. The third is suppress. So by the time you avoid and deny, you walk around feeling suppressed. You walk around feeling like there's a lid over you. You walk around feeling like you're in a box. Now, you're not aware of the scope of how these patterns are shaping your relationship, because it's not obvious, you see. It's only when you start to get interested in how are these mind patterns playing out in my relationship, do you actually see them. See, from time to time, I find myself bursting out in my relationship and saying a whole bunch of stuff that's going on for me. You see, because I can see these as my mind patterns, and I can release them, disconnect them, by connecting to myself, it comes up and I can catch them. And then I start to, like, suddenly I burst open and I release them. And then I feel newly related, newly connected in my relationship. I feel like I'm pulled into my partner in a way that is creating more love and intimacy and a sense of belonging and a sense of togetherness. But this is not automatic, guys. This doesn't just happen because you said, oh, I'm in love. Oh, this is the person I love. This doesn't happen like that. Because what you'll see is, from the mind, these patterns are going on all the time in the background, and we're not aware of it. And so that's what there is to take on. Look for these three mind patterns and check out some of my programs that support you in disconnecting them, releasing them, so you can act from another part of you and not get stuck with these mind patterns. So listen, if you liked what you heard in this video and you want to hear more, subscribe to my video, and also leave a comment and let me know what are the types of things you'd like to hear about from me that would support you in your life. And thank you so much for watching my video, and certainly check out my website and see what kinds of programs are there that could support you. You know, having an extraordinary relationship, feeling connected is possible. And what you'll discover is when you can disconnect these mind patterns, you fall in love newly. You feel like you don't have to go out and look for the person that's going to get you. You actually can discover that the person you're with is really there loving you, but these mind patterns keeps you from experiencing that love. So thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll talk to you soon.